First, it's a real honor to be here tonight, to see everyone again. It's been a number of years since I've seen most of you. Thankfully, I can recognize all of you. I'm not sure you can recognize me. Would like to thank my parents who are not here tonight. Without their support and sacrifice, I would never have gone to Trinity. Like to thank my wife for coming tonight and traveling with me from Philadelphia up in the car. We don't agree on how to drive, so that was. And she was coached by Curtis Jordan at Princeton, and they won a championship in some year in the 80s. And my daughter, who took a couple Amtrak's from New York City to be here as well. And to my son, who couldn't be here, I hope you're streaming. Clark, son, hello. I got to say that when I got the call from Drew about a year and a half ago, it was a thrill. And then I sort of parked it, and then everything kept getting moved because of COVID. And then I didn't really zone in on it until yesterday when Lindsay sent out the roster, and I started looking at them. And my first thought was like, wow, this is sort of, myself excluded, a big deal. And then I started reading the bios, and I said, okay, maybe I'm a cut and paste error in the list. And then I was entering a self-esteem crisis, and I stopped reading them all. So it's really nice to hear about everyone tonight. Before I talk about Paul, because I'd like to talk about Paul a bit, I'd like to recognize the people who I know from my era. Dia, who I watched swim, you didn't know me, but I knew you. And Ken, I was Bill, Mike. On the way up, I was trying to think Mike Dunleavy. It's not Dunleavy, it's Donovan. So I got that part right. And I was at the game when you won the ECAC against the New England's Conn College. I was with the cross-country team because my roommate was on the cross-country team, and they would hydrate themselves with kegs, not Gatorade. And so the volume coming from the stands, you might have recalled that day, was quite loud. We were part of that, and proud to be a part of it. And then Karen, I could have sworn you played 9 sports, not only 3. And you did it with a grace and competitive spirit in a wholesome way. I was really good at the competitive stuff, not necessarily the graceful stuff, and you were quite good at it. You might have noticed a picture of Joe Shield up here with me. A quick story, in the spring of 1985, we all got together in Hamlin Hall to vote for male senior athlete. And so everyone got nominated, and we all got sequestered into some room while the voting occurred. And we all knew we were sitting there playing for second, right? Because it was Joe Shield, NFL draft, well, NFL, and 480. Average on the baseball team, red hair, 6'2", smooth, all that sort of stuff. And we're in there for like 10 or 15 minutes, and Rick, where's Rick? Rick comes in to the room and says, hey, everybody out of here except Doyle, you're tied with Shield. And I'm like, oh my God. So I'm in some subterranean room in Hamlin by myself, which seems like forever. I don't know how long it was. And Rick comes back and sort of snarky says to me, well, who do you think won? And I'm like, who do you think won? And I'm thinking, I got to walk out there mortified. And as it turned out, he goes, well, congratulations, you won. And I'm like, wow, that's illogical that I won. And I walked out there not feeling great about it. My roommates, Doug Burbank and Dave O'Donnell, who were voting, like, we didn't vote for you. I'm like, well, yeah, I wouldn't have voted for me either. So I would like to get that off my chest, that Joe Shield was, without a doubt, the greatest athlete in the class of 1985 on the male side, and maybe one of the greatest athletes in the history of the college. So I feel much better getting that off. I'd like to talk, well, quickly about Paul. As an undergrad at Trinity, I played against Paul when he was coaching at West Point. And then when I graduated, he was a pro in Fairfield County, Westchester County. I was living down there too. We used to play pro doubles tournaments together. We used to train in the sauna together. In saunas, you don't wear a lot of clothes. And he was a former gymnast, and he was built like the Statue of David, and I was 140 pounds, 5'11", 6 feet. And we went out and played professional doubles together, and then we competed against each other when he was the coach, is the coach at Trinity. I was the coach at Harvard. We had some epic battles, those teams did. And then coming full circle, Paul coached my daughter at the Pan Am Games and my son at the other Pan Am Games in Argentina. And of course, with Paul coaching, they won gold medals. And so it's been a real honor to watch Paul's sort of outer galactic ascent in the squash world. So congrats to you, Paul. You do it with class, and it's a beautiful thing. My two coaches at Trinity, George Sutherland, he was the singular reason why I went to Trinity. In the fall of '81, 7 freshman players appeared on campus. He recruited all of us. And we were a tough group. I mean, there were a lot of chips on our shoulders. Irreverent comes to mind. And he was incredible about cajoling us and making us a team and teaching us the importance of seriousness, of intent, and professionalism and commitment to each other and to the school and to the program. He was amazing. And then he left after our first year for various reasons, nothing sinister. And we were rudderless for a year until a guy by the name of Steve Heath showed up, who was a top amateur player. And if George brought fire and passion and competitive spirit, Steve, he wore the horn-rimmed glasses and had longer hair, and he had sort of a John Lennon vibe. And we were pretty rambunctious by then. And he brought a balance and a serenity and a discipline to us, which we needed and allowed us to get to whatever we got, number 2 in the country my senior year. And both of those approaches that we all received, those were foundational for me, and I brought those to my coaching at Harvard. I brought them to when I tried to coach my kids in squash. Very hard to coach your own kids. And I just feel blessed for that. As well as my teammates, those other 6 guys, Doug Burbank, John Conway, Sandy.
Got a good joke? Sorry.
That was very smooth. Thank you. When we get together, we never talk about who we beat and what it felt like to win. We just talk about the fun we had with each other, how much we pushed each other and respected each other and made each other better with sort of a rising tide approach. So our team was quite good, not to the levels that Paul has brought his teams, but we're really proud of what we did, and I feel like that I carry the flag for my era, and I'm proud to do that. So thanks very much.